Hello, welcome back to another episode of Be Loved. Glad you're joining in again. I have my good friend back, Julie, and on the last episode we did with her, she talked about her son Brandon and some of the things that they went through after adopting him. So if you have not watched that episode, make sure you go back and watch it. It's going to be kind of a prelude to what we're going to talk about today. And it offered so much hope. Her son Brandon ended up being incarcerated, and he's still incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she tells you what led up to that with him, and kind of just it's just a great story, and it's a great story of hope. So go back, even though he's still incarcerated. It's still a great story of hope. So, but today, I wanted to visit with her, kind of go back a little bit in time, because, it was her only child. And so things were different. It's a loss, it's kind of like we lost my mom back in October, and things that we celebrate, Christmases, birthdays, things like holidays, they're different now. And Julie has experienced some loss, even though Brandon is alive. But those things are different. Mm-hmm. And so I just want her to share some of the things that she's went through, some of the changes that have happened, and how she dealt with that. So I know you had talked to me about Christmases. Mm-hmm. And when she was sharing this with me, I was like, oh my goodness. So I really want her to tell you what you shared with me.
Okay. Well, I don't want to give anybody the idea that, I just turned hope on and everything's great, because everything has not been great.
Yeah.
This has been really hard, and it's been really painful. And shortly after Brandon's arrest, which was just a little over 5 years ago, Mike lost both of his parents. So there was a huge loss, particularly for him. So Brandon's arrest, mom dies a few weeks later. A few weeks after that, his dad dies. So that was a terrible, terrible year. So we get to Christmas. I don't want to do Christmas. In fact, it can't come and go fast enough for me. And Mike felt the same way. We didn't put a tree up, didn't buy any gifts. I didn't send out a single card. I did nothing. I just wanted it over. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to expect. I just thought, okay, that was the first year. Well,
because with Brandon, you always had great time at Christmas. I mean,
we had these fun things that we did. And, I would put all these little socks on the tree, and I'd put one large bill in it, and all the rest of them would be like $1, and he would just have fun discovering what was in it. And some smaller gifts and things like that too. Yeah. And put the dogs' gifts on the tree, and that was fun. When they noticed them, especially too, that was fun. So we skipped all that. We didn't have Christmas with the dogs, and I'm a dog lover.
Yes,
so
she is
a massive dog lover.
She is. I'm not.
Dogs.
She
I
is.
Love dogs. Anyway.
She has car seats for her dogs.
I do. That's right. They have their own beds, and anyway, I could go on with that. But anyway, so we didn't do Christmas, and, time just went on, and I liked not doing Christmas, and I didn't want to feel. It was just too painful. Mm-hmm. It was just too painful. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to go to somebody's house. I don't want to be invited, even though I knew I could have gone somewhere.
Yeah.
But, you still kind of feel like you're on the outside. Just a little, especially when you're experiencing a loss. And I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So my husband lost his brother a few months ago, and we've been doing the same thing for years, avoiding all things holidays and just.
So you've not celebrated Christmas, like put your tree up, and I mean, you celebrate the reason for Christmas.
We celebrate the reason for Christmas.
But you're not doing all the.
Since 2019, I haven't put anything up. Everything has stayed packed away.
Okay.
I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
And even had somebody at church last year just off the cuff say, "What are you doing for the holidays? That's not unusual. We'll be out." I said, "I'm not doing anything." He said, "Nothing." I said, "Nothing."
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
But when Mike lost his brother, kind of all of a sudden this past year on Christmas Day, and I saw his brother's kids and family, and watch them experience this loss and the importance of family to them, and that was painful for me to see them hurt.
Yeah.
And I thought, I think I can begin doing Christmas again. And I don't want to further their loss by not participating if they want us there.
Yeah.
So, and plus it'll just be good for me too.
Yeah.
So this has been like a perpetual death. It's the best thing I know how to describe. It's just been ongoing. There's no completion. There's no time where it's just over. It's like it's just suspended. My life's just been suspended. And it's been hard, So,
Yeah.
And we've done that with all the holidays. I've avoided all celebrations. And so, it's just us. So I never thought when I was younger that I would be celebrating or not celebrating, having holidays alone. It never occurred. I thought, oh, that'll never happen. But, I've experienced a lot of things that I've said, oh, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
And things keep happening.
Yeah.
So, anyway, and that's not a pity party. Oh, poor Julie. It's not that. If you've experienced a loss, you understand how sometimes you have to do things differently.
Yeah. And it's all right.
And it's okay to do it differently.
There was nothing wrong with you all not celebrating.
No.
I mean, we have our own ways that we work through things.
Yeah.
And, but I think one of the beautiful things of what you said is that now you're seeing someone else hurting from a loss. And I think because you have really chosen to speak life into yourself, as well as Brandon, but you're speaking life to you, and you're remembering what God's word is saying, and there's hope, and you have also been able to now look at somebody and think, I want to be there for them through their loss.
Right.
And that's healing.
It is healing.
Because all of a sudden you're really kind of getting your mind off of your loss.
Right.
And it's always there.
It's always there.
But you're focusing on someone else and their loss and trying to be there because
I know what it feels like. Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's, what God's called us to do. Yeah. And anytime we can serve others and get our minds off of ourselves, it's always healing.
Yes.
It's not always easy.
No.
But it's healing. And we all do this in our own time.
Yeah. Most of the things that God calls us to look impossible for us to achieve. I can't do that. I can't do that. Years ago, I probably had this conversation with you. Brandon can't go to prison because I can't live through that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. And yet
you did it.
I'm doing it. And it's terrible. I don't want to give anybody the impression that everything's fine, because it's not. But you can get through this. God has been with me every step of the way.
Yeah.
Every step. And sometimes I'm wondering, where are you? Because I don't always feel his presence, but I have to trust, because he said he would not leave me.
Yeah.
So he hasn't left me.
No.
And it is a choice to choose him. It's a choice, to trust him. It is a choice.
And you're choosing to live.
Yes.
You're here today.
Yes.
Doing something that a lot of people can't do. And maybe yet. Yeah. Or they may never be able to tell their story to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's all right too.
It is okay.
It's everyone's different, and we all walk down a different path that may
maybe not
similar.
Timing just may not be
exactly.
There for them
you were just saying.
Yeah.
You've just recently started sharing this with.
Yeah, I've lived this basically
for a long time.
With few people knew what was going on.
Yeah. For how many years?
Oh.
What would that be?
If you count back when Brandon started getting in trouble, he's 28 now. So it's about 15. So I probably did 12 years with probably very few people knowing what went on. In fact, we never really told Mike's parents fully everything.
Well, it would break their hearts.
It would break their hearts. So there's lots of hiding and avoiding and, all
which
of that.
is so stressful.
It's very stressful.
You're always wondering if someone's going to say something or someone's going to read something or.
Yeah. I mean, it was on the news. It's on the internet. I mean, it's out there.
Yeah.
And it's not pretty.
So 12 years. I mean, I want people to understand that for 12 years, she's been going through this and it's still ongoing.
Yeah.
It's not over.
No.
But you're speaking life and I just listen to that last one she did, because she talks a lot about our words matter and it's very life-giving.
Yes.
Well, I love how you just continue to live your life daily, even though there's days when you may not want to get out of bed. We all have those days.
From time to time.
Or there may be days when it's awesome and you're having a wonderful day and great things are happening.
Yeah.
And that's just part of living. So no matter who you are, we've got those moments and days, no matter what we're going through. But I just appreciate you. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and accepting the loss. I mean, it's not just, you go, oh, okay, it's okay, I'm done. It's not that easy. We all know it's not that easy.
No.
And, even for us, if Brandon stays in prison for his full duration, I'll never be a grandmother. Those things that's just one thing that you just give up. And quite frankly, I'm beyond thankful that there are no grandchildren. That's wow.
Yeah.
What a nightmare. So,
that's one thing too I would say about you is that you've always asked me about my kids and my grandkids when I know that's not easy. And maybe it is, maybe it's not hard for you, but I would just assume if I were you, I'm just trying to think of how I would feel.
Yeah.
But you've always been very gracious to ask how my kids are and my grandkids. And I know that's hard probably.
In a general sense, it can be hard, but again, that's a choice. You choose to celebrate with those who are celebrating. The word tells us that.
It does.
We are to rejoice with those who rejoice, and we're to mourn with those who mourn.
Yeah.
So that is what Jesus wants us to do. Yeah. So, and it's not like I'm pretending. You just choose. You choose to do it.
It's
you
not
choose to have the
feel.
attitude. I don't always feel great.
Yeah.
But it does matter to me. How's Whitney doing? Or how old is Riken now? Because I haven't seen the kids in a while. And that's what's going on in your life and a lot of people's lives that are our age.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you ask?
Yeah.
It's not about tiptoeing around me.
Yeah.
And people who do ask me about Brandon, and they are genuinely asking me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do. Mm-hmm. So, and some people, there's probably lots of people who don't know, and I do avoid those questions. How many kids do you have? Well, I have one. So tell me about yourself. I mean, I'll do that. So if you're watching, and I've done that, so that's my key to avoiding having to go into too much.
I mean, that's really a great, for someone who's watching and thinking, I don't even know how to respond to people when they ask me that, because
most of the time
I love how you're saying you answer, then you move on to them.
They're making polite conversation usually. Yes. Nobody is expecting the answer to be, oh, my son's in federal prison.
Yeah.
They're expecting that he's in college or he's married or, he has a job he likes, or it's kind of the normal things.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I need to unload all that. I don't even want to.
Yeah.
So I'll give them a truthful but vague answer.
Yeah.
Because they're not entitled to anything.
Yeah.
I get to choose what I talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
So then I just change the subject and we talk about them, which most people are pretty happy to do.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
Anyway,
I love that. That's good.
Key to not having to discuss things that you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
And it works.
Yeah. It does. It does.
So I think the whole key, is you don't pretend you're not having the experience. You don't pretend you're not feeling what you feel. You don't pretend about it. you accept, and then you just choose. You choose to be thankful. Philippians tells us to, doesn't, in Philippians 4:8, to think on things that are true and praiseworthy and pure. And there's about 8 things. I'm not thinking of what, yes, good report. So it didn't say that was going to happen because everything is wonderful. We are not to ignore the challenges, address it, give it enough attention to address it, but then keep your focus over here. And in time, this becomes easier to choose to be thankful. And there's lots of things to be thankful for, lots of things. And it does help you. It helps you heal, helps keep it, your mind is being renewed by focusing on God and the Word. And did it happen overnight? No, it's devastating. This has been a devastating experience. With each step of the way, though, He has shown me what to do. And He's given me words to say, like, what are you going to do with what you have to work with? I don't know how many times I've said that. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Well, that's pretty straightforward. Jesus is the life giver, so why would I want to try to do this on my own? Apart from me, you can do nothing. And it's the truth.
Well, I just feel that you have really touched some things for some people, telling your story. And there was something that you said earlier, that maybe you were talking about gratitude, and God works in gratitude.
Yes.
And I love also how you said that these things are happening and you're recognizing that this is, you can't live in denial.
No.
But focus over here on what is good, what is lovely, and we can find things in our lives that are good.
Right.
And how that changes, that's what changes us. And I think even though you have gone through a lot from the very beginning, who you have become through it, you would have never been who you've become without some of these challenges.
Right.
And that's what God's the most interested in.
Correct. Is our character.
Is our character and becoming more like Him. So through this process, you have come to know who He is more because you've had to rely on Him. You've had to rely on who He is. Who He says He is.
And not what He can do.
No.
Who He is.
And in that process, you're becoming more like Him.
Yeah.
Which is His whole goal.
And, and back to, speaking, you don't come into agreement. It's not, I'll use an example of an injury. Let's say I fell and broke my leg. I wouldn't say, God, your word says I'm healed, and I'm just going to ignore the fact that my leg is broken. That's ridiculous. You acknowledge, but your word says I have been healed by your stripes. I'm trusting you to take this natural circumstance that I'm experiencing. That's a fact. But the truth of the word says I'm already healed. I'm believing for this moment to end in a full and complete healing. And that's what I do with Brandon. I don't call him an offender. I don't call him an addict. He is incarcerated. I don't know for how long, but I say, God, I'm trusting you for a miracle. Do the work in him first that needs to take place. So when he's out, he lives successfully. Whatever that's going to take. And that might be the full, I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
But what you do know is that God's at work, and that's what you're speaking and asking for. And that's His desire.
Right.
That's God's desire.
And we see through a glass darkly. I see so little of this whole, as all of us do when things we go through that are difficult. And He sees the whole thing, and He does know what He's doing. He knows what He's doing. And all he asks from me or from any of us is trust me. I know what I'm doing. That's what He wants from us. And it's impossible to please Him without faith. So it's pretty simple. You either choose to trust or you don't. And then you had this set of circumstances that you're not denying exists,
Right.
but while you're living in those, you're trusting, you're saying those things be not as though they were. You
Yeah.
are trusting him for the final outcome, which
Yes.
is his outcome.
Yeah.
And we abide. The results are up to him.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
So no pretending,
Yeah.
but
No
we
pretend-
trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we choose joy.
And we choose. And we choose to be happy for others, and
Yeah.
and we rejoice. And I'm telling you, that's one of the best things to bring healing. It's just
I
you just
agree.
choose. You know, somebody has something going on, and it is something to celebrate. You celebrate.
Yeah.
You celebrate.
Yeah.
And that person or God will bring someone else when you're in need, and when you need someone to mourn with you. Trust me, you will not be alone.
Yeah. For sure. Mm-hmm.
He's very
reap
faithful.
What we sow.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's so good. I love you.
I love you.
Oh. Anyway, she's amazing. I should have you sing something before we leave. Sing Amazing Grace.
Okay, let's see.
One verse.
Okay. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see.
Amazing Grace. I love it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you all for tuning in. Bye-bye.